What is up, friends? It's time for more Breaking Bad. Always a highlight of the week for me. Hope it is for you as well. Really enjoying watching through this show, especially this season. I've had so many great moments already, and obviously last episode was a good one. There wasn't too many crazy things that happened, but there was definitely some good character progression and moments. Obviously, a big one being with Hank turning down El Paso to focus solely on finding the elusive blue meth and Heisenberg, who we all know as Walter. And so that was a really, really big moment for his character, and definitely will probably change his trajectory in the show. But in my personal opinion, I think that's probably for the best for just his own sanity and things like that. Obviously, his last time down there did not work out very well and kind of pushed him over the edge a little bit mentally, and it seems like he's a lot more well respected while he's up here, although he's started to have a little bit of tension with Gomez, and so it'll be interesting to see if he starts to not work well with other people as much or what's going to happen there. But definitely loving his character arc in this season so far. And obviously then we had Walter with the great metaphorical scene there at the end with the lights, and so I'm assuming now that he's seen the cash, and with that combined with losing his teaching job, I'm sure that he's going to find his way back into the meth game with Jesse and working for Gus again. It's a good thing that Gus has so much faith in him, because he would obviously be a dead man otherwise. So interested to see if this episode he gets back into it, or if it's still going to take a little bit more pushing on everybody else's part to get him back in. But I'm excited to jump into this episode with you all. Sure, it's going to be exciting as always, and if by the end of the video you enjoy watching along with me, definitely consider leaving a thumbs up. That helps the video reach a lot more people, helps the channel out. Appreciate you guys who do that. And as always, if you'd like to watch along with me for the entire length of the episodes, definitely check out my Patreon link in the description. That's where you can find those. They always go up earlier than the YouTube edits, so if you'd like to see those a little bit ahead of time, that's definitely the place to do so. But I'm excited to get into this episode, so let's go ahead and start episode 5. Whoa, what the heck? Haven't seen this version of Walter in forever.
You are not how I remember you from class. I mean, not at all.
I accidentally put in a season 1 disc or what?
This is all the money I have in the world. You are a drug dealer. Negotiate.
Buy the RV.
Oh man, Walter looks so different, so full of life there.
Oh, I'm so dead. Oh my God. Oh, damn.
Supposed to use that dude's money to buy an RV.
Is he having regrets now? Didn't realize that Jesse was swindling him from the beginning. Shoot.
I can totally get you an RV.
You tell me you can get me an RV for $1,400 at 6 in the morning.
Dude's been hooking him up for a while. Respect. This is how it all began. I love that I'm getting a look into this moment. Oh, maybe the owner of the RV is someone that I'll recognize. I didn't consider that. That may be the reason why we're getting shown this scene.
Come on, we gotta bounce. What? For real, yo. Get it out of here.
Wait, did he steal it? Oh, gosh. I wonder if that's going to make it easier for Hank to find it then if it's stolen.
Contractor talked me into it. Seemed kind of extravagant, but gotta tell you, once you try it, you can't go back.
Freaking treacherous Ted now, that's what I'm gonna call him. Can't believe that Skylar's just fully into a relationship with him now. I was willing to slightly give her some benefit of the doubt after the first incident, just because that was the first thing she'd done after all that Walter had done, but she's getting a little bit carried away with it, especially considering that Ted's doing illegal stuff as well.
I owe you nothing. I told you not to cook my formula, and you went ahead and did it anyway.
Because I never said I want to cook it. Because it ain't yours, it's ours.
So amazing to see where they're at now as characters after seeing that scene from the first episode earlier.
My meth, my money. I will be a one-man glass factory. I will rock that RV 24/7.
A lot of tension between them right now. I had a feeling that Gus doing that was going to piss Jesse off. I would assume that he's not going to try and work with him again, knowing that he's just going to keep giving half the money to Walter.
Let's button up tight.
No smoke, no smell, no waste. There's no cook. I say we call it a night. Come back with a search warrant.
I'm not letting the sucker on my side.
Dude, Hank is locked in right now. He's got such an obsession in his eyes. Haven't seen him like this. This case might drive him mad. I really like this scenario though, because it puts a lot more urgency and kind of stress on the situation with Walter and Jesse, knowing that Hank's hot on their tail. That went about as horribly as it could for my guy. Those two are about as far as you can get from meth cookers.
Check out a couple more, then we're gonna call in the morning, okay? What do you say?
Got a pack. Where you headed? Texas.
Oh, did they give Gomez the El Paso job? Whoa, that would be a turn of events that I didn't expect. Dang, so that means Hank's going to get a new partner. And I really liked Gomez. I don't want to see him leave.
Turn it down. End of story.
Good. God knows I'm relieved.
Yeah, well, I needed some time here because I'm deep into this investigation and couldn't do both.
Thank goodness Marie's such a strong support for him, it looks like. I've hated on Marie in a couple scenes in the past, but she's alright.
I mean, after what happened last time, it would make perfect sense for you to not want to go back.
I'm on to some important stuff right here, right now. And Mexico doesn't have a damn thing to do with it. Anyone who doubts that. But I'm on to something, I know it. You understand me?
Oh man, that's sad seeing Hank on that trajectory of anger and obsession right there. Hopefully it doesn't consume him in the way it's consumed Walter. I can definitely see some parallels between him and Walter in that scene.
I apologize for being so transparent. Would you take a drive with me? I'd like to show you something.
I'm kind of terrified with Gus now. Anytime he offers something like that, I'm afraid he's going to like kill him because he never changes his expression, and so I never know exactly what he's planning or what he's thinking.
I want him safe. I can't tell what he wants. He works all day, all night, barely eats, barely speaks to me. He's just not the same. Facing death, it changes a person. It has to, don't you think?
Oh, great conversation, man. Love it. Definitely has changed Walter, that's for sure, so not surprised that it's having an effect on Hank. I love that none of the characters in the show are just like cut and dry. They all are dealing with their own emotional issues and stuff, and none of them are just there to like fill a role in a cast. They all have their own like little storylines and things that they have to deal with.
What is this?
Love the red lighting as well.
Your new lab.
Whoa, I was not expecting that. What? Walter's got a whole elite setup here. I was thinking when Jesse bought his old house that they were just going to do that again, but this has got to be like Walter's dream.
How did you know how to put this all together?
I had excellent help. As will you.
Whoa, so is he going to set something up here with Walter excluding Jesse? Is he completely out of the picture now?
Sorry. The answer is still no.
Whoa, are you kidding me? Dang. I did not expect Walter to be so set in his transformation. I'm actually pretty impressed with him right now.
What does a man do? Provides for his family.
This costs me my family.
A man provides, and he does it even when he's not appreciated or even loved, because he's a man.
Man, love that camera angle being in like the hero shot looking up at Walter right there. Gus is definitely a man who has a way with words. I think he convinced him a little bit there.
Great dinner, Mom. Yeah.
That's such a freaking good frame, man. What? I love the way that the frames of the sliding doors or the windows there separate Walter from Skyler and from Walter Jr. Interesting that that camera moved there and Walter walking over there, Walter Jr. puts him on Walter's side as well. And how the baby is kind of like split right down the middle. It's so interesting.
You want to take her?
Oh man, love the acting by Bryan Cranston right there. What a good moment. Is Skyler finally like slowly warming up to the idea of Walter being home?
Hey, Janice.
That the last one? Sorry, Hank, that's all DMV had.
Could you check again?
Shoot, man, that would be terrible if Hank refused his promotion, Gomez got it, and then he goes through all of those and loses the one lead that he had. That just ruined him emotionally, I feel like.
Hey, here. Know your enemy and all. That's a good fight, brother.
Love that moment, man. That's awesome that that little figurine came back into play after pretty much a whole season of not seeing it.
DMV said the registration wasn't renewed, but then they realized it was never filed as non-operation or destroyed.
Bro, is that the one? Did he find it? Oh my gosh, man. Hank is moving right now. Jesse is not gonna be safe for long. Oh my goodness, man. Is this gonna be Skylar's moment where she chooses to accept the money and stay with Walter? If it is, I never thought we would reach a point that she would accept him for who she is, or who he is.
Breaking news is I am sleeping with my boss, and I don't know why.
Wow.
Her lawyer's probably so overwhelmed with everything that Skylar's been telling her the past few sessions.
As wrong as I know it is, as much as I know I'm probably doing it just to make Walt leave me, it is the only thing in my day I don't feel like I'm drowning.
Man, what dialogue and acting. That was amazing. Such a great look into her character right now.
Keeps money in the house.
There is nothing to discuss here, Skylar.
I'm just saying, maybe what he did,
He did it for the family, right? That is one enormous load of horse.
Not fully. Initially, it was 100% that reason, but definitely evolved to something else.
You are now an accessory after the fact. You, your children, you could lose everything you own. Do you understand?
Interesting. I thought it'd only be if she accepted and spent the money that she would be considered an accessory. That certainly adds some urgency to her in getting Walter out or moving. Yo, what? I can't believe this. I felt like Walter was finally gaining ground there, and then he solidifies everything that he'd been fighting against. Does that mean that he's fully invested in cooking now?
Can you take a Xanax? Get him from my chiropractor. Vietnamese, 5 foot tall. She adjusts you to completion.
Oh my gosh, Saul, man. This dude never fails to crack me up.
He's here.
Send him in. Hello, Walt. Good to see you.
Oh man, I love that he's dressed all in black right now. That's gotta be a metaphor for his mental state. Some great subtle filmmaking.
That is the last money you'll ever earn in this business.
What the hell's that supposed to mean?
Mutual associate. He needs me. I'm in. You're out.
Whoa, dude, what? Jesse just got kicked out of the business. I can't believe what's going on right now.
You think this will stop me from cooking?
Cook whatever you like, but don't even think about using my formula.
Just try and stop me.
Oh, yo, dude. I can't believe it, dude. Jesse and Walter are actually going to become rivals.
Do you have an RV?
I did. It was stolen months ago.
I'm curious as to why the theft was never reported. I'm not seeing any records of it with the police.
I didn't want him arrested. He ran with a bad crowd.
Dude, he's gonna start putting pieces together once he figures out that the death from earlier is related to it.
He was shot 2 months ago.
Is his nickname Combo?
Bro, man, Hank is on the verge of something big right here. Surely he can find a connection to Jesse in here. There he is. Oh my gosh, man. Hank has freaking done it. He found him. Yo, what an episode, man. So many crazy things happened during that. Jesse's a dead man 100%. There's no way he can escape from Hank now. He knows he's the one behind it, or at least involved. Probably comes down to being able to prove it now at this point, though. Man, so many things from that episode I need to talk about here at the end. Walter's back in it, and he seems more ruthless than ever. I can't believe all the things that happened in this episode, especially with his progression back into the meth game. Took a little while there, but he seems like he's settled on it for good. And I know that the contract with Gus is for the next 3 months, which I assume he will fulfill that time frame. So I don't know what's going to happen after that, but it certainly sets up a lot of interesting scenarios and plots, especially considering how in this episode we saw Skyler finally warming up to the idea of Walter being home, being a drug dealer, and having earned all this money. And I feel like if Walter stayed at home and didn't get back into the meth game and continued on, that she might have finally fully accepted him back and they would have rekindled a little bit of their relationship. But at the same time, if he refuses Gus, then Gus stops those twins from going after him, and so his family might be killed anyway. And so it seemed like an impossible situation for Walter, even though he probably didn't understand the full implications of his decision. But amazing now that he has the best setup that he's ever had, and it seems like he's got some good protection there, so I wouldn't think that he runs into the same issues that he and Jesse ran into before. But I don't know what Jesse's going to do from now on, especially without Saul on his side, who's now back on Walter's side. I assume Jesse will keep cooking because he said before that that seems to be the only thing that he's good at, and so I'm guessing he might have some customers still. But if Walter starts producing at the volume that he seems capable of in that new facility, I don't see any way that Jesse can get enough of an audience to make it financially viable. And it was interesting seeing the conflicting ideas of Walter's motivations in this episode, because we had Gus telling him that a man provides for his family and that is what Walter needs to do despite not even being loved. Although we had the lawyer saying the opposite, that is not Walter's motivations, and Skyler can't treat Walter as him only doing it to protect his family. And so it'll be interesting to see what Walter does with his earnings. I would guess that he would try and give a little bit back to his family like he did in the past, but maybe he's done with that. I'm not sure. At this point, Walter might be a little bit of a wild card. I mean, he came into the office at the end dressed all in black, which I assume signifies kind of where his soul and mental state is at right now, that he's fully kind of embraced the dark part of himself. And maybe that also, as a side effect, means that he's not going to care for his family as much now as well. And kind of tying the two stories together with Hank's side of things, it'll be very interesting to see what happens now, knowing that he knows that Jesse was a good friend of Combo, who was killed, and certainly he would think that Jesse's probably involved in it significantly. And if he ever finds Jesse, I don't see that he would protect Walter, as I mentioned, and Jesse might even go himself and seek out a way to punish Walter by disclosing information on him. Definitely a potential bad scenario that Walter's created for himself. It's amazing that Walter ruined Jesse's life by being kind of directly responsible for Jane dying, and then kind of tried to nurse him back to life again, only to come back and kick him out of everything and kind of ruin his life again. Walter's personality in a way has become somewhat like a parasite, and I didn't realize it in the moment, but just thinking about it now, when Walter was staying in the house and Skyler walked into the baby's room earlier, it was kind of all messy and it was a little bit dirty and everything like that. But once Walter left the house, she walked in again and it was all clean. So maybe that's just signifying how Walter's personality just kind of destroys everything around it at this point, just because he's so deep into the mess that he's created. But really loved the filmmaking in this episode and how it kind of accentuated all the points that the dialogue and the acting were already making, and made some further points that kind of go beyond the frame. And so I've loved how this show always inserts things like that, and I'm sure I miss a lot every episode as well, but I feel like I picked up on a few more in this one. And with all the stuff of Walter in this episode, it's easy to forget some of the other things we learned. Obviously, it mentioned briefly about Hank, but with him losing Gomez, his partner, down to El Paso, it's clearly kind of putting even more stress on him. Obviously, that was more momentary, because once he kind of got a breakthrough in the case again, he started to seem to be a little bit more comfortable with the situation. But I don't know if they're going to give him another partner at some point to work with. That'll be very interesting to see if they do. I'm getting real worried, though, the way this is kind of moving, the story and the plot, that at some point we're going to get a Hank versus Walt moment. Obviously, do not say anything if there is or if there isn't. I would be very, very worried in that moment, because obviously with two main characters, it's kind of difficult to pick a side. Obviously, right now, probably be on the side of Hank, just because he is my favorite character still. Love his character arc, and it feels like he has kind of still maintained the decency and the humanity of his character, and so he's a little bit easier to root for. But also Walter, being played by Bryan Cranston, just a phenomenal character, and so can't short him at all as well. And so it's interesting watching the show progress, and now we have a little bit more conflict than we had alliances in the past, now that Jesse's outside of the picture. And so there's all these different moving pieces, so many different people to kind of latch onto or root for, and it makes the show so much more exciting going forward, because it's just turning into this massive war between all these different people kind of clamoring for similar goals, just represented in different physical forms. But really, really love this episode. Obviously, so many great things to talk about and mention, and I'm sure I didn't get to everything that I could think of, but hopefully you guys enjoyed watching along with me for this one, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one. Obviously, as always, you can watch along with me for the entire length of these episodes on my Patreon, the link for that being in the description. Those always go up sooner than the YouTube edits, so if you'd like to see them a little bit early as well, you could do that there. But until the next episode, I will see you all later. Peace.